We are on the FANUC booth, but it's almost like a Where's Waldo situation. I'm not sure if you can find me or not. And Lou is around here somewhere as well, but that's how busy IMTS is here on FANUC. And if you have found us, here's my buddy Lou. Lou, how are you today?
Tony, we're doing great. I want to thank you for giving us the opportunity and coming into our booth. We're so excited to be back at IMTS 2022. FANUC's theme coming into this show is we are hearing what the customers need, and we're displaying it and we're showing it. We're starting off today in front of a very, very innovative cell. There'll be a lot of information that's going to happen with this cell over the next few months, but what we're showing is the challenge in the workforce, the challenge that our customers have. We want to empower them to take on more business, to be successful, to attack business, and to help subsidize some of the labor challenges and to put the labor in the right place. Use the human aspect of your workforce to improve your profitability and come out of this show with so many more options.
You're dead on. I mean, you always have been. You've always been a forward-thinking person. You and I have talked a lot about what was projected. You've kind of been almost like Nostradamus at this point when predicting what's going on. But you also mentioned a little bit to me about this cell. And I've talked to you about some fascinating, incredible technology. I mean, your booth is massive. You're showing off everything. But something about this one is so incredibly unique. How did you describe it as being the best ever, the most technologically ever? Can you go into that a little bit?
Yeah, so, you know, we're always trying to strive for future technologies. Where's the business going? Where's the industry going? Where are the challenges going? So there's been a lot of development work over the last few years with regards to AMR technology and autonomous technology and working directly with all your devices connected. So all those things are coming, and it's what I would call an inflection point because there's now a desire, there's a need. Customers don't have to wait any longer for the technology to match their capabilities. So what we're showing in this cell, quite honestly, is incredible. It's a combination of our latest and greatest collaborative robot technology, as you can see here in the white. It's loaded on top of an AMR mobile platform. It comes over to the machine. It automatically calibrates to the machine using 2D vision to find its space and time in front of the machine. And then what's most incredible is what we're doing inside the machine. So inside of the machine, we're loading magazines, and we're using our motion technology to transfer parts throughout the machine, op 1020, and then to preload it. It's a long cycle, and I hope everybody tunes in for the next episode of what's going on here. But it's a very incredible technology, all combined together with ease of use.
Or just stop by the booth and come take a look if you're here. Obviously, it's a live stream, so we'll get into more details with that a little bit later. Also, if you have some comments, leave those in the comment section, and Lou can get to those. Some of our other colleagues can get into that as well. If you want to know more about this really fascinating cell, and think about this. There's no people in there, and it's doing everything on its own. That robot moves around. I mean, it probably dances around me if I was in there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. If you were in there, it would avoid you for sure. And it is capable of taking on more tasks, more opportunities. We can scale it with more machines, and it becomes more and more successful for again, the empowerment of our customers. Everything is about listening to the customers, empowering them with their needs, and help solve the problems with the key technology. So I think FANUC hit it out of the park with this cell. Very proud to have been part of it, and our team is here to help you. Come on in, we'll talk through it. Everybody has different needs, but we can certainly find where the technology fits.
We could quite easily spend a full day on this booth talking about the technology for everyone who's watching. If you're here, come to the booth. If you're live streaming, we'll get you some more information. But I know we have to move on to some other topics of RoboDrill and automation, and we really have a big robot to show you as well. Picking up a car, imagine that. So Lou, you're always a pleasure to learn from, my friend. I really do appreciate you.
Yeah, appreciate it, Tony. Thank you for your time.
I think that AGV drives better than Tony, I would imagine. Now, we're going to see some chips fly, which is what our audience always loves to see. Grant, I want you to introduce yourself first. Tell us who you are and what you do here at FANUC.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Grant Green. I'm out of Rochester Hills, Michigan, and I'm a senior engineer for the RoboDrill segment.
Okay, so what's your main role?
So primarily, basically, it's our job to kind of dissect the machine. We do all the communications to and from Japan, and we also assist customers in really deciding which model of RoboDrill that they'd like.
Okay, now we've got two demonstrations that are going to run shortly. Just tell us quickly what they are.
Okay, I'll be brief. Okay, so here we have the high-efficiency steel machining, and we also have high-efficiency aluminum machining right behind you there.
Okay, now before we see these, I just want to let people know what these machines are and what they're capable of. Tell us about the spec of this particular model and the new Plus version for those that won't know.
Yeah, certainly. So I'll just take a small step back. So for starters, RoboDrill is actually FANUC's CNC mill. It's been around for over 30 years. And over the years, we've reached finally now this Plus version. So essentially, this is an extremely strong and fast machine capable of 54,000 millimeters a minute in rapid travel. And also this one in particular is our high torque spindle. What is it, 1,100 newton meters of force.
They're pretty powerful, and that's what we're going to see in a minute. Now, if there's anything you want to know about the RoboDrill, then of course this is the time to ask questions, and Grant will be able to answer them directly during the stream. Okay, so let's press the cycle start button, and you can tell us what we're doing.
Okay, so essentially we're going to start right off the rip with a 40 millimeter hole directly plunging right into steel. This is basically to showcase the strength. There's a stigma in the industry that the 30 millimeter or the 30 is not as strong. Well, this is our direct response to that. We're going to couple that with some deep hole drill briefly. This is actually gun drilling, 170 millimeters deep, 6 millimeter in diameter.
Wow, it's some demonstration, and I think this is what's really interesting here, because it is a misconception. These BBT30 machines are really capable, aren't they? Is this pushing it to its limits?
Yes, and beyond as well. We may not be able to see it in this demonstration, but at the end we actually wrap up with a 24 millimeter tap. That's kind of unheard of with the 30 taper platform, but with our BBT spindle, we certainly can push it to the limit.
And what about cutting materials like this dry?
Not much of an issue at all. In fact, you'll see it in just a second. We'll be doing plenty of steel machining dry, no coolant.
And is there going to be impact on the overall longevity of the machine doing operation? People may say, okay, it can do it now, but is it going to be able to do it in 6 months or a year's time?
Absolutely. So the RoboDrill is incredibly reliable. Not only FANUC plays offense with their machines, but they also play plenty of defense. So the machine actually has load monitoring, in which can actually adjust the feed rates for you if it's overheating or it's gravitating that direction. And also, if you are pushing the limit, what it can do is actually allow you some time to actually make that adjustment yourself. You'll actually have a count that'll display when it's actually at a point where it could cause a problem.
And what about the BT40 comparison? How many people are replacing BT40 machines with these?
I'm sure there's a fair amount in the market space. Obviously, my focus is the product itself. I do know that we have plenty of customers who have gravitated to this and chosen the 30 taper BBT spindle over the 40.
Okay, we've got some questions. Coming in. We are going to move off of this demonstration now, because we are pushed for time, and we need to move on to this next machine. Now, this is high efficiency machining of aluminium parts. So perhaps we could press cycle start on here as well, Grant.
Certainly.
And can you tell us what you're doing?
Yeah. So essentially, this part here is to replicate an antenna component in the 5G industry. So essentially, for the public here, it's just extreme removal of aluminum. The special feature here, though, oddly enough, is that we have our tapping spindle. We're introducing that new. So that is 12,000 RPM and capable of 48 holes per minute, continuous. Apparently not. No, the industry is calling for more and more, so we go faster and faster.
And what's the importance of the non-cut, or removing that non-cut time?
Correct, yeah. So like with our rapid enhancements, right, every single Plus unit's 54,000 millimeters a minute. Fast. So basically we have three speeds. They're fast, incredibly fast, and wicked fast.
So we've got a great, it's like being there, procurement manager at Gulfstream. So that's good to hear from them. Great content, thanks for sharing, Dean Tanner. So if you are watching, let us know you're watching. And if you're interested in these RoboDrills and you want to know whether it's a machine that you could possibly utilise, then obviously this is now the time to ask those questions. What I wanted to do just now, I mean, what is this actual final part, Grant? What's it going to become? Is it just a demonstration?
This is a demonstration, but it's a replica, like I said, it's an antenna component in that 5G market. So it's a capability demonstration, but at the same time we show that we actually have practicality to the demonstrations we present here.
Okay, last question before we hand over to Tony. Efficiency of these machines. In the world we live in today, it's so important to keep power consumption down to a minimum. How do these machines do it, and how efficient are they?
Oh, for sure. So, like I said, they play deep there in Japan. So we have plenty of power consumption during sequences in the control. That's primarily in the IHMI. So there's plenty of they call they're green. They're really focusing on being green. So we have this eco and energy saving features, like with our coolant, with our whey oil, with our energy consumption, and we can actually chart this data and output it so that we can keep track of that.
So important. If you come into IMTS, you must come to this stand. Here is obviously just milling technology, but there is so much to see. And shortly, I'm also going to be looking at what they class as quick, simple startup coming up. But as for now, I'm going to hand over to Tony, who's with Zach Spencer, machines, and they're talking about automation of the RoboDrill machines.
Zach, welcome back, my friend.
Doing great, Tony. How are you?
Let's talk about automation. I'm doing well. This is a beautiful cell with a lot of answers to questions that people didn't know they had questions for, but let's talk about automation.
Absolutely. So this is our Methods RoboDrill Plus K60 system. We've worked with FANUC specifically to integrate the system onto their FANUC RoboDrill. And we did this with a fully integrated solution using Robot Interface 2 on the machine. So on this machine here, we have 60 pallets in the front and an additional 44 tools on the side rack there. And it turns a traditional vertical milling center into more of a horizontal type machining center where you see multiple pallets in that type of solution. So here you can see and you just saw all the different types of pallets we can introduce into the system, from collet vices to HWR vices, and you can even see our max part sizes that we can run in the system. And this is all done right through the screen of the control. You need an operator that's knowledgeable on robotics to run this machine. We have a full pallet management system here, and you can see the statuses of all your pallets. You can even jump in and manage them. Every single pallet can have a different program if you're interested in doing that, or if you have high volume, you can make them all the same with a collective change. So this system's really set up to do high mix, low volume, or super high volume if you needed to.
It really sounds like one of those things too good to be true. I mean, are you kidding? 60 pallets where I could do 60 of the same job or 60 different jobs all in one setup, and it's that easy control?
Absolutely. For the operator, it's as simple as using a standard RoboDrill. You don't need to learn how to use a robot.
Well, what I know about a RoboDrill as well is typically we have 21 too many pallets. How do I compensate for redundant tooling if I only have 21 tools?
So this system, you're still using the 21 tools in the turret to make your parts, but the 44 additional tools on the side rack of the machine, if you want to go take a look at that.
Let's go take a look. Yes, please.
These 44 tools are meant to make it so you can change over between all those various jobs you're going to fill in these 60 pallets, as well as put redundancy. So if you're cutting a harder material and your tool life's low, you can absolutely put redundancies out here, set up your tool life manager, and have the robot grab tools after one wears out or one snaps or whatever it might be.
You guys have the answer to all the questions, don't you?
We try to.
Well, when I see this, you're exactly right. Now, that's why I brought it up. I actually knew this was here, obviously, for the 21 tools, because I wanted you to go into that. And you're right, and I know they talked about it over there with Paul as well, was the redundancy of tools, because the 30 tapered RoboDrills are able to cut that. So if we're doing a softer material, we can have all of these tools be individual tools and just run a ton of parts within the machine. You guys really have put it all together. When it comes to the world of automation, as we're talking about this as a whole, where do you see automation in the shops? Because I see these beautiful yellow colors everywhere. Let's just talk real briefly about automation as a whole.
It's only increasing, right? Labor rates are just getting harder and harder to keep up with. Finding people's getting harder and harder too, right? How's that being solved? With FANUC robots.
FANUC robots, and we see the beautiful yellow everywhere. Oh my gosh, is that Kevin behind me?
It is.
Kevin, how are you, my friend?
Good to see you. It's been a while. How are you?
I'm living a dream, man. It's good to see you. How's the show been for you so far?
Excellent, excellent. Super busy. These things are super popular because they're so versatile. It's been great. It's been really good to see everybody. It's been a long time since we had a live show, so this is excellent.
Nothing like having hands-on, but with that being said, let's send it over to Paul. I know we have some more technology to talk about over there. Thank you both for joining us on MTD.
See you, big man. Good to see you.
Thank you, Tony.
Okay, so quick, simple startup automation. I'm with Greg, and he's going to talk us through what we're showing here. Greg, automation is everything to FANUC, isn't it? It's becoming everything to manufacturing. What are you showcasing here?
What we're showing here is the ability to take a FANUC robot and a FANUC CNC and seamlessly connect them through a single wire Ethernet connection. generates your interface between your robot and your machine tool and allows for you to quickly and simply start up robotization of a machine, loading and unloading.
Okay, how fast is that process? So we say quick. You're just talking about one wire and a power?
Yes, one wire connection. You set up your interface through macro variables. In a couple hours, you can have your robot loading and unloading your machine tool.
Okay, now important to state it isn't just automation that we see here. This can, of course, be applied, I assume, to any of your machine tools.
With the robot, you have the flexibility to automate almost any process. Here we're showing the robot on a cart, the ability to move it around a factory to different machines. The robot's using the vision on the machine to locate, orient itself to the machine, and then be able to load and unload.
Okay, there's a couple of fascinating points we're going to touch on in a minute. Before we do, I've just got to say, keep those comments and questions coming in. We have had a question. I'm hoping we will be able to answer it. If not in the stream, we'll obviously answer it afterwards. Does the RotoClear come as standard with the RoboDrill that you just saw? That's a comment from James, so we will get back to you on that. Any more comments and questions about this or anything else here on the FANUC stand, please get them onto the stream. We'll be still streaming for about another 10 minutes or so. Okay, now there's one interesting feature I want to look at that's on the screen now. Maybe if we could quickly walk around there and you could show us, Greg, what's happening. We're going to have to probably wait for another cycle, but if you could just maybe stand here. What we see?
So what we're showing here is a new feature with the CRX robot where you're using the internal sensors of the robot to actually feel for the chuck. So you take your part in, you don't have to be super accurate when you're teaching. The robot will take the part, face match it to the chuck, and then when the chuck finger is closed, it actually moves the robot to the center position. You grab that position in your program, and now you're loading and unloading seamlessly, just that quick.
Okay, so what we'll have to do, we're going to see that actually happen in process on the screen in a second. The CRX is is it a fairly new cobot to FANUC?
The CRX-10 was our first release of the lightweight arm, and now we have an entire family of CRX robots from 5 kilograms all the way up to 25 kilograms.
Okay, now let's watch this now. If you go into the screen, actually, cameraman, if you come back and look at the screen, you'll be able to now see what Greg was talking about on here. Maybe if you could stand there and point out what's going to happen.
So I intentionally have the robot taught off, not a good teach position. So as soon as the robot comes into the machine, you'll see the part is at an angle. And what the robot's doing is it's moving in, it feels for the chuck, and now it's aligning itself to the backside of the chuck. And once it's flush, the fingers will close, and the robot will be moved to the center position. That point is now recorded, and then the robot takes off.
So what we're ensuring here is the part is obviously flat to the base of the chuck, isn't it?
Yes, we are ensuring that the part is flat and that it's centered, so that's a teaching tool. Once you go through this process once and you record that point, then your robot's going to repeat back to that point for every part and do load and unload.
Okay, automation, as we say, is everything. So much to see here on this stand if you're at IMTS this week. Now, this is a cobot. Let's go and have a look at an industrial robot with Tony.
Lou, we are standing in front of the largest robot in the world, aren't we?
Yeah, Tony, this is the culmination point of a lot of our tours with people. Super impressive model that FANUC has, our M2000 model, 1,700 kilogram, crazy reach, can accomplish tasks that honestly were thought to be impossible in the past. But of course, at FANUC, we have a product mix ranging from half a kilogram all the way up to 1,700 kilograms to solve all these manufacturing challenges.
And what are the chances I can convince you to put me in that car while it's being lifted? Is there a chance for that?
Absolutely zero.
Absolutely zero. So for all of you watching, this is FANUC, an amazing company. And I would give you the booth number, except just walk into the building. It is massive, and the beautiful color yellow is everywhere. Lou, thank you so much for being a part of this and sharing the information with the world.
Yeah, absolutely, Tony. Thank you, too, as well. Sharing the passion for manufacturing space and the technology is always a joy for FANUC. And anybody that comes through, if you have any questions, please look up any one of us, and you'll get the same amount of passion, I believe.
Awesome job, Lou. I do appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thank you, man. You have a great one.
And you.
What are you doing next?
We got to